Good evening, YouTube. You guys are not watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. Today, we're going to be talking about why battle traps are losing their luster. Now, back then, a long time ago, yeah, I still have the same water battle. I recorded the videos back to back. Get over it. Long time ago, long time ago, Mirror Force was actually a bannable card. I know. It's at 3 now, so the game has really changed since then. Mirror Force used to be, even still before then, Mirror Force used to be one of those badass $40 Metal Raider ultra rare cards that only a select few people could obtain. Now, with the dawn of Structure Deck Merrick, and then years later, so many other decks that followed to give Mirror Force another reprint. Mirror Force has definitely lost its luster in the competitive scene, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Mirror Force fails to compete with the cards that we have at hand. We have Fire Hand, Ice Hand, Bills, just so many monsters that either prevent destruction or monsters that say when this card is destroyed, they get to make advantage off of them. Shadows don't care. They like their cards being destroyed by effects. Yang Zines don't care. They like being destroyed, period. It's just so many things that make Mirror Force such a bad card right now. And it's a good notion that Konami did put it at 3, saying, hey, you guys can play as many as you want. It's not really going to help you. That and the card is so reliant on the opponent attacking. It's so reliant on the battle phase. Knowing how fast this game is, it's not that great anymore. Another card I want to talk to you about is Dimensional Prison. One of my favorite cards, and if I were to ever run Battle Trap cards, it would be Dimensional Prison. Why? Because Dimensional Prison has a couple of ups on Mirror Force. Granted, Mirror Force can destroy a multitude of monsters, but destruction is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for removal. That's it. I'm looking for a way to remove the monster threat from the field without it ever being able to come back again. Dimensional Prison kind of fills that void. Now, granted, I can tell you some flaws about Dimensional Prison. It being able, the opponent have to enter the battle phase, and also its ability that it has to target the monster. But other than that, Mirror Force does a really good job at removing monster threats such as Mermo Lind, Fire and Ice Hand, Bills, like I just said, without me having to worry about that. The other damage, I guess I can deal with later. But Dimensional Prison ruins the threat completely. It makes sure the monster is more than likely not going to come back unless the opponent runs different dimensional reincarnation. Dimensional Prison is just one of those really good cards, but like I said, it's subpar because it requires the opponent to enter battle. Now, Konami did put this card at 3, and I'm not really impressed because I probably still wouldn't play Triple Dimensional Prison in any deck, just because you're placing 3 cards in your deck that have to fill the stipulation of an opponent's monster attacking. That being said, it's not that much of a great card. The last card I want to say has lost its luster a long time ago and used to be regarded as one of the best trap cards in the game. That card is Magic Cylinder. I know you guys are thinking, wait, good players used to play Magic Cylinder? Yes, good players used to play Magic Cylinder. This is a card that I was really crossing my fingers and hoping that it would make a comeback. Why? Because Magic Cylinders creates situations where you can win the game just completely like that. My opponent soul charges, my opponent pays for Judgment Dragon, my opponent does this, and somehow I was wound up keeping Magic Cylinder on the field. Magic Cylinder will win me that game, I promise you. It's just because it inflicts damage to the opponent's life points equal to the attack. And in human nature, we want to have the monster with the strongest attack. So not only is Magic Cylinder preying on human nature, it does a hefty amount of damage for that. Also, when you are Magic Cylinder, as any player back in the day should know, when you are Magic Cylinder, it's a thing that goes off in the back of your head. I don't know if you guys have it, but I'm pretty sure I know I do. When somebody Magic Cylinder me once, I'm looking for Magic Cylinder number 2, number 3, because that card is an asshole. If you get 3 off on your opponent, it's game. I don't see how someone can Magic Cylinder you 3 times and not win the game. It's just like that. But still, Magic Cylinder is still reliant on battle. It's still reliant on an old mechanic that doesn't really do good anymore. And that's why all of these cards are at 3. But like I said, other than on the contrary to Mirror Force, I had a lot of expectations for Magic Cylinder one day, coming out and busting the scene up, inflicting a huge amount of damage to an opponent's life points, and winning the game because it's that much of a good card. But now with cards like Judgment Dragon, Trap Stun, Dragon Rulers that can go into Draco Sack, and all this other stuff, these battle modifying cards, or I'm sorry, these attack reliant cards are just lost their luster in that sense. I'm not saying that they're bad, especially Dimensional Prison. I'll still run Dimensional Prison from time to time. But they've definitely taken a huge step back into this metagame. The game is a little too fast-paced for these cards to go off, but I can tell you what, when these cards do go off successfully, they can change how the game is played. So you really have to take a risk when running these type of cards. Me personally, my opinion on battle reliant trap cards is never run more than 2. The reason why I never run more than 2 is because I don't want to see a field full of attack battle reliant cards, because there's so many outs to them, first of all. Secondly, the 2 cards that I would run, I want them to not be destruction cards like Dimensional Prison, or even if I had to, maybe Magic Cylinders. I would not want them to be destruction cards, just because, like I said, Fire and Ice Hand, Bills, there's so many cards that the opponent could summon that the card just completely becomes 100% useless. Like, it's not even worth playing at that point in time. I wish Mirror Force was good. Trust me, I wish Mirror Force was good. But there's times where you're sitting on a Bills, or your opponent's sitting on a Maestro or a Bujin Katazushi, and they're attacking you for game, and you're like, well, nothing else I can do. Or they're sitting on a monster that wants to be destroyed, and you don't have the adequate enough life points to take the damage, and you have to Mirror Force it, and you going into neg mode. Those are situations that Mirror Force provides all the time in this metagame, and it's depressing. If there was a way to slow the game down, then these cards would definitely be great. Probably even semi-limit worthy yet again. But since Konami's only showing a sign that this game is only getting faster and faster, battle traps, not really as good as they used to be. Thank you guys for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.